Well, I think, first of all, how scrappy Virginia Tech was and inspired they played, without one of their good players and Justin Bibbs, is a credit to them. Those guys battled, and I knew that. A rivalry game, we talk about those things, and they were aggressive, and they presented some matchup problems for us. But I kept telling our guys, there's a lot of possessions left, and it's going to come down to, can you just get a good look, get a stop? And, we finally, again, against their zone, and then even at their man-to-man, which they did flood the lane and do a good job with, you need to kind of crack the seal a little bit and bang a couple of threes or just to get it going. And we were struggling, but once we hit a three, and even under the 4-minute media time, I said, just keep your composure. Just keep your composure. Try to get it to a 2-possession game, 3-possession game. Lots of play left, lots of possessions, and they did that. Now, it didn't look promising, I know that, but with college basketball, with young guys, I think it's just you just keep hanging and you never know. And I think the experience of our guys helped, being an upperclassman and being in those spots before. Whereas if you're a first year in that spot, it can be a little daunting, but I thought the composure was there. We have stuff to work on, and we showed all that, but I told our guys how proud I was that they did stay steady enough and then make some big shots. Justin and Anthony's putback, Justin's block, and, of course, his threes.
Tony, hold on, sir. Doug. Could you talk about the alley-oop dunk after the timeout?
Yep. Yeah, I told Corey, Corey Alexander on TV after the game, I said, Justin's been begging me for 3 years. When are you going to put in a lob for me, Coach? When are you going to put a lob? So I said, there you go, Justin. So and I'm glad we put it in because it was well-timed. Simple play. Again, they were jamming the lane. We weren't making shots. You just had to have something at the rim. And even when we got to the lane, we were struggling, but perfect pass, great screens to set it up. And, like I said, it was just something against the zone that we haven't seen a ton of zone this year, and they mixed it up. And, again, when we were struggling to shoot the way we were, that makes the zone even that much more effective. But the lob was, certainly a good timing, and they executed it well.
We'll go over to the left, Mike, and then Isabel.
Tony, they had that 16-0, I guess, run after Malcolm hits a three to open the second half.
Yeah.
And your defense really tightened up, held them without a field goal for a long time.
Yeah. Well, we were struggling to score, obviously. I think we only had that one field goal for that long stretch, 1 of 12 at some point. I think we were. But I actually went with a 4-guard lineup. They had hard matchups for us, and they were running good stuff. And so I went with Marielle for a large stretch and just said, look, if they guard-to-guard ball screen, we'll switch it, but let's just be a little more mobile and see if we can close on those shooters and still block out, because they're so spread out that they weren't offensive rebounding that much, but their spacing was good. And, obviously that was their game plan. They shoot a lot of threes. So I think Marielle gave us a good lift, and the guys held in there enough defensively because we had to, because it wasn't there to start for sure.
Justin started 0 for 4, and I guess he hasn't had the best couple shooting games, but to see him kind of hit that three and some big shots down the stretch, how nice was that?
Yeah, it was significant. We just needed the seal to be broken, as we say. We got a couple good looks, and London's was way off, and a couple of the shots are just – they're room and rhythm shots, as we say. You want it. I think Marielle had one, Malcolm, London, some of the guys had them, and Justin, they weren't even close. We were missing bad. So, I just kept telling him, if it's a good shot, take it, step up and take it. But again, Justin hit one, and he's a confidence guy, and you could see it flowing. And then they had to come out at us. Then we started moving the ball, touching the paint, and getting some better ones. And, again, I think Anthony's offensive rebound was significant.
Brad, then Hank and Doug.
Coach, 10:34 to go. You're down 10. They just, I guess, Justin pushed it to 10. You just called a timeout not too long before that. You called another quick one, which isn't something that you normally do. What kind of adjustments did you make?
We were down 10, and so it was desperate times called for desperate measures. I told our guys, again, a couple of their threes were contested, tough shots, hand extended on the ball. I said, you got to live with that. But you can't let them get stuff at the rim. You can't let them break us down or split us. And, we talked about – we were kind of searching too. All right, do we want to spread the floor and go ball screen, offense? Do we want to run? We were trying to figure out, because they were bothering us and we weren't real effective. So, you're always trying to find an offense that works, get matchups defensively. So it was just trying to adjust and figure some things out. And then, obviously we went back with Anthony at the time, where I thought I can get some on the glass. And, it was just that, and certainly good suggestions by the staff. You're trying to figure it out in that spot.
Tony, you guys have been challenged in a couple of spots this year, but not a great deal. With everybody here talking about, what you guys could do and all that stuff, how important is it to have a game like this where you find out that, this is why we still practice?
Yeah. I think I've said this probably 5 times to you guys. We know we're vulnerable. We showed some flaws. We've got to get better. We've been very fortunate. Guys have played well. I'm so proud of how they finished. But You know, we came in here and knew what was going to be in front of us, and it's such a fine line. You know, you guys think that's coaches speak, but it's not. And you know, we don't blow people away. We just kind of slowly gain on them. We couldn't get that traction today because of the atmosphere, because of how they were playing. And no, I think our guys understood if they're not right, if they're not revved up and have an edge on both ends, we can be in for long nights. And fortunately, we pulled out of this one.
Doug, then Jeff.
How much do you feed off of past successes on the road, particularly here in, you see similarities between this year's game and last year's game?
Yeah, you're right about that. You know, it's funny. Just when you said that, that was Justin. I think he hit a big 3 in last year's game, if I recall, or a couple. So part of it's that that experience is huge. Again, there's just no substitute for it. They've been in these spots. They've had success. They've had failure. So they know, all right, here's how I got to be. And to have pretty much, you know, 3. Well, we had a senior on the floor. We had a third-year junior, another third-year junior, Malcolm Anthony, and then, you know, the guys that were out there have been on the spots. That's everything. And then, you know, they didn't get too shook, and I think it just showed. Tonight might have been the night. You know, it looked like it didn't look probable, but that's why I see you just keep staying in there, and here we are.
Jeff.
Smith hit some really tough
Yeah.
contested three-pointers. What did you think when you saw that final shot
Yeah.
go up? And did you give any thought to
Foul.
fouling and putting him
Well,
or
we
the player?
fouled the one to give him one. Yeah, we thought about it. You know, it's first of all, the shots he hit, if they're tough, I always live with those. But we thought he was going to be the guy. We all knew that. Just bother him and let's just play percentages and do it. We said if you can foul and he's kind of got his back and that clock's going down, do it. But once he turns and face any shot motion, get away from it and straight up and down, because we were in this boat at Miami and we ended up having to go to 2 overtimes. But he made some tough shots. He sure did.
Take one in the back and then Paul.
Coach, what does a win like this, the way this went down, what does it tell you about your team?
I mean, I just think every win is so important. When you're in a league like ours and you're conference play, and any win's valuable, but on the road in a rivalry game, in a tough setting, it's important. I mean, you got to look at it realistically and say, okay, we showed some vulnerability. We showed some areas that we got to keep fine-tuning or cleaning up. But to struggle in certain areas, again, credit to Virginia Tech, and come through that's important. That's composure. And you say, hey, that's just – you take it one at a time, and that's an important one because they're all battles. And, you know, with our last 3 games, we've played against teams that haven't won a game in the ACC. And, you know, we had a battle like crazy at BC. We had a real special second half against Georgia Tech. And then here, you know, you're telling me, okay, right now we're the top, they're the bottom. There's not that much separation. And so the ability to understand that and then know what we're stepping into next game.
Okay, last question, Paul.
Connie, before his alley-oop dunk, Justin looked like a confused look flashed across his face. Then he went to the baseline. Was that just him trying to trick the defense, or
On the dunk, the alley-oop dunk, I guess that's deception. I mean, it was a play out of the timeout. I mean, I think he's been begging me, as I said, for 3 years to run that play. So if he was confused when we called it, then we got to sit down and have a talk about that. But I think he was just trying to get the guy to look him off. You know, just, yeah, I think because it's not like he's sitting there going like that when he knows. He's just sort of standing there and take off. I couldn't see his face, but it was designed, but you'll have to ask him about that.